All right, so get this. Today we are diving into a story. It's got forbidden love, a shocking crime, and a courtroom battle that'll leave you scratching your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Stephen Colver and Tylar Witt,
Okay.
two teenagers from Dorado Hills, California.
I see.
Their story.
Okay.
It starts like a classic Romeo and Juliet, but trust me, it takes some seriously dark turns.
Sounds juicy.
It is, it is. So to set the scene, it's 2009.
Okay.
We've got Stephen, he's 19, works at a Rubio's.
Rubio's, huh?
Yeah, he's dreaming of becoming a math teacher. But meanwhile, we've got Tylar.
Sure.
She's just 14, dealing with the usual teenage angst,
I know teenage anchor.
strained relationship with her mom, Joanne.
Yeah.
And, well, they meet, Stephen and Tyler,
Where do they meet?
just at the local town center. And despite the age difference, their connection quickly becomes, well, more.
Interesting. Yeah, so you've got this forbidden romance brewing,
Yes.
but I feel like there's got to be more to this.
There is. Oh, there's so much more.
Okay, lay it on me.
So Tyler, she's rebelling against her mom.
Classic teenager.
And Stephen becomes her confidant, a shoulder to cry on.
Sure.
But their relationship, well, it escalates. Quickly.
They become romantically involved.
Oh, yeah. All while Joanne, Tyler's mom, remains completely in the dark.
Oh, this is getting messy.
Oh, it gets messier. You see, Stephen's dad decides to move out of state.
Okay.
And Tyler, well, she convinces her mom to let Stephen move in with them.
What?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
So they're basically living under the same roof.
It's bold, right?
It's like a ticking time bomb. You can't keep secrets forever.
And, spoiler alert, things explode.
They do?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
In May 2009, Joanne discovers some, let's just say, incriminating evidence in Stephen's room.
What kind of evidence?
Think sex toys and drug paraphernalia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So she confronts him.
she does, but he manages to smooth things over.
But that's got to raise some red flags.
Oh, it does. It's just the tip of the iceberg, really.
What happens next?
So the very next day,
Right.
Joanne walks in on Stephen and Tyler in, well, a compromising position.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, talk about a shocking discovery.
So what does she do? Does she call the police?
Initially, she chooses not to involve the authorities.
Really?
Yeah, she tries to handle it herself, strikes a deal with Stephen, and the relationship move out, no police.
I guess she's trying to protect Tyler.
I think so, trying to avoid a public scandal.
Understandable.
But, teenagers in love,
Yeah, no.
they don't exactly follow the rules. Tyler, she continues to rebel against her mom,
How so?
runs away from home,
Oh, wow.
even lies to the police to protect Stephen.
This is getting intense.
It is, and this is where Tyler's diary comes in.
Her diary.
Oh, yeah, and trust me, this isn't your average teenage diary.
What's in it?
It reveals explicit details about her relationship with Stephen, and get this, it also expresses fantasies about her mother's death.
Well, hold on. Fantasies about her mother's death.
Yeah, chillin', right?
That's really disturbing. Makes you
Yeah.
wonder what was going on in her head.
It does. It's clear the tension is reaching a boiling point. This forbidden romance, it's about to take a dark turn.
And this diary is almost like foreshadowing.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of dark turns, on June 11th, 2009, things escalate dramatically. Stephen and Tyler, they allegedly discuss running away to San Francisco and committing suicide together.
A suicide pact. This is getting really dark.
It is. That night, after a series of phone calls between them,
Okay.
Stephen arrives at Tyler's house. Joanne is asleep in her bedroom,
Oh, no.
completely unaware of what's about to happen.
So what happens? Do they go through with the suicide pact?
Well, after midnight, they leave the Witt home.
Okay.
They go to Stephen's father's empty house. They shower and burn their clothes in the fireplace.
Trying to destroy evidence.
Exactly. And then they spend the rest of the night in the parking lot of the local library.
The library.
Yeah.
This is bizarre. So they're running, but from what?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
It is. What happens next?
They decide to spend their last day in Dorado Hills with friends as if nothing happened.
Wow.
They even meet up with their friend, Matt Whitman. And get this, they dye their hair black in his bathroom.
They dye their hair. I don't
Yeah.
get it.
It's like this chilling juxtaposition, hanging out with friends while potentially running from something horrific.
So are they trying to create an alibi?
Maybe. Or maybe they're just trying to cling to some sense of normalcy amidst all the chaos.
But secrets have a way of coming out, don't they?
Oh, they do. Later that day, back at Stephen's father's house,
Okay.
Stephen confesses everything to Matt.
He confesses.
He does. Under the influence of cocaine, he reveals that he stabbed Joanne to death the previous night. Even shows Matt the bloody knife.
He confessed to his friend. What did Matt do?
Well, Matt was obviously shocked and horrified.
I can only imagine.
This confession, while made to a friend, would later become a key piece of evidence against Stephen.
Yeah, that's huge. So they confess, and then what?
Well, Stephen's dad unexpectedly comes home, forcing Stephen and Tyler to flee to San Francisco.
As they had planned.
Exactly. They check into a Holiday Inn, do some sightseeing, even write suicide notes.
So they try to go through with it.
They do, but their attempts to end their own lives ultimately fail.
This story is one twist after another.
It is. And remember, at this point, nobody knows about the murder except for Stephen, Tyler, and Matt.
Right.
The truth won't come out until days later, when Joanne's coworkers become concerned about her absence.
So we've got a confession, a failed suicide pact, and the authorities are about to discover a murder scene. What happens next?
Oh, the discovery of Joanne's body is only the beginning.
Oh, boy.
The real story, the legal battle, the psychological complexities,
Yeah.
that's where things get really
I
grim.
can't wait to hear it. This is already wild.
Oh, just wait, it gets wilder.
Yeah. So the discovery of Joanne's body, well, it really changes everything.
I bet.
Police find her in her bed, covered in blood, stabbed multiple times.
Oh my God.
It's a gruesome scene. The focus immediately shifts to Stephen and Tyler, now considered fugitives, obviously.
Right. So the authorities are trying to piece together what happened. They're searching for these two teenagers.
Right.
What are Stephen and Tyler doing? Are they like hiding out, trying to flee the country?
Well, they actually spend a few days in San Francisco
Right.
sightseeing, just trying to process what they've done, it seems.
Wow.
But their freedom is short-lived. On June 17th,
Okay.
an off-duty police officer, he recognizes them.
Oh, no.
In San Bruno, just south of San Francisco.
Okay.
They get arrested near a shopping mall.
Busted. I mean, their escape plan wasn't exactly foolproof.
No, not at all.
So they're captured. Now the focus shifts to the legal battle, right? Figuring out exactly what happened that night.
Exactly. And this is where the case takes another turn.
Okay, what kind of turn?
So we've got a confession, we've got the diary, this attempted suicide pact.
Right, seems pretty straightforward.
You'd think so, but the narratives presented during the trial,
Yeah.
they paint very different pictures of what happened that night.
Oh, okay. This is going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got these two teenagers, a shocking murder, and now a trial with conflicting stories. Lay it on me, what were the key arguments?
All right, so the trial begins in May 2011, almost 2 years after Joanne's murder.
Okay.
The prosecution, they argue that Stephen, who's already facing statutory rape charges,
Right.
he murdered Joanne to eliminate the key witness against him.
Oh, wow.
They build their case around his confession to Matt, witness testimonies, and the physical evidence.
Seems like a pretty solid case. I mean, confessions, those are pretty damning.
You would think so, but the defense, they had a different strategy.
Oh, what was their angle?
They argued that Tyler, fueled by her rocky relationship with her mother and this obsession with Stephen, she was actually the mastermind.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
So they're saying she manipulated Stephen into taking the fall?
Pretty much, yeah. They point to those disturbing diary entries, the ones expressing a desire for her mother's death.
Right.
They claim Stephen was just covering for her out of love and loyalty.
That's a bold claim, especially with all the evidence against him.
It was a risky move,
Yeah.
but they didn't stop there.
What else did they do?
They introduced the concept of Tyler's alter ego.
An alter ego? Wait, like a split personality?
That's exactly. They called her Toby.
Toby. Okay, I need to hear more about this, Toby.
So during the trial, Tyler testifies that she had this alter ego named Toby. A demon from hell, no less.
Hold on, a demon?
That's what she said. Claimed this demon possessed her, influenced her actions.
A demonic possession defense. That's not something you hear every day in court.
Nope.
Did the jury believe her?
That was the big question. Tyler's testimony was chilling. She claimed she couldn't go through with the murder, had covered her ears to block out the sounds of Stephen stabbing her mother.
Oh my God.
Blamed everything on Stephen, portraying herself as a victim of his manipulation and this demonic influence.
So two completely different stories. Confession versus demonic possession. What did the jury decide?
After deliberating for less than a day, they found Stephen Colver guilty of first-degree murder.
Wow.
Special circumstances, too. Lying and, killing a witness.
So he got life in prison.
Life without parole.
Wow. Jury didn't buy the demonic possession defense?
Nope. What about Tyler? What happened to her?
Yeah, what was her fate?
Well, she was tried as an adult,
Right.
but made a deal with prosecutors, pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, agreed to testify against Stephen.
So she admitted to her role in all of this.
She did. In exchange, her charge was reduced to second-degree murder.
What does that mean?
Eligible for parole after 15 years instead of 25.
Still a long time, but a lot less than Stephen.
Yeah. This whole case really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. Confessions, demonic possession, conflicting stories. It's like something out of a movie.
It is, and it raises so many questions about truth, justice, the legal system.
And let's not forget the psychological aspect.
Right, Tyler claiming an alter ego.
Yeah, it makes you think about mental health and the criminal justice system, and
It's complicated stuff.
it is, and I'm sure our listeners have a lot of questions. What are some things they should be considering as we move forward with this deep dive?
I think it's important to remember that behind the headlines, the court transcripts,
Yeah.
there are real people whose lives were forever changed.
Right, Joanne's family and friends, Stephen, Tyler, they're all dealing with the consequences of what happened.
Exactly. It's easy to forget that when we're analyzing the case,
I know what you mean.
But this is a reminder that crime has a ripple effect. It impacts everyone involved.
It's a powerful reminder, for sure. But what about Tyler after her release?
She did an interview in 2022.
After serving 15 years?
Yep. Expressed uncertainty about who initially suggested the idea of murdering her mother, but ultimately took responsibility.
Wow, that must have been an intense interview to watch.
It was. So we started with a forbidden teenage romance, and now we're talking about murder, trials, and the aftermath.
This case is a wild ride. What are some of the key takeaways from this story?
This case highlights how complex human relationships can be, especially when young people are involved.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it shows us the challenges the legal system faces when truth and fabrication get blurred.
Right, right.
Plus, let's not forget the psychological aspect.
Yeah, the Toby persona, it brings up questions about mental health conditions like dissociative identity disorder.
Exactly. It's a condition that's often misunderstood.
So much to unpack here. But before we move on, I got to ask you this.
Okay.
If you were on that jury,
Yeah.
would you have believed Tyler's claims? Or would you have convicted Stephen based on his confession and the evidence?
That's a tough one.
It is, right. It really makes you think about the role of the jury in these complex cases.
It does. They have to sift through so much information, weigh the evidence, and ultimately decide someone's fate.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is. And it reminds us that the justice system, although imperfect,
Yeah.
it's always striving for fairness and accountability.
Well said. We've reached the end of another deep dive, folks. A forbidden love story turned deadly.
A story full of twists and turns.
Absolutely. This whole case, it really makes you think, What starts as a teenage crush ends with, well, a life lost.
Yeah.
A family shattered, 2 young lives completely changed forever.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
It is. It really is. And I think, it's easy to get caught up in all the sensational stuff.
Right.
Like the forbidden romance, the demonic possession, all that.
Oh, for sure.
But it's important to remember the human cost.
Absolutely. We can't forget about Joanne, the victim in all of this.
Exactly.
Her life was cut short. And, the people who loved her, they're the ones left to pick up the pieces.
It's easy to lose sight of that, when we're talking about the legal stuff, analyzing the case.
Yeah, it's hard.
But this case, it's a reminder that every crime, it has victims.
Right.
And the impact of what happened, it goes way beyond the people directly involved.
It makes you wonder, right? About the community, were there signs? Could something have been done to prevent this?
That's the question that comes up a lot in these kinds of cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the signs are there, but people don't see them or they don't know what to do.
It's tough.
And sometimes it just seems like, I don't know, like this sudden explosion of violence.
It's a complicated issue, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really is.
This deep dive, I don't know about you, but it's been a roller coaster, So many emotions.
I know what you mean.
Shock, intrigue, sadness.
Yeah.
Everything in between.
This case makes you think about human nature, the darkness that can exist anywhere, even in seemingly normal places.
It does. It makes you question your assumptions about love, justice, even truth itself.
Right. Like, was Tyler really this manipulative mastermind? Or was she just a troubled kid?
I don't know.
And Stephen, what about him? Was he just love-struck and in over his head? Even with a confession?
It's hard to say for sure. So many questions, no easy answers.
I think that's the point of doing these deep dives.
Yeah.
To get people talking, thinking critically.
Right.
The world's a complicated place.
It is. No easy solutions.
Nope.
So here we are at the end of our deep dive into the case of Stephen Colver and Tylar Witt.
A forbidden love story turned deadly.
A story that leaves us with more questions than answers.
But that's okay.
It is.
I think so. It means we're thinking, we're engaging,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
and hopefully we're learning something along the way.
What do you think our listeners should take away from all of this?
Well, I think it's important to remember that every story, even the tough ones, even the ones that make us uncomfortable, they have something to teach us.
I like that.
We do these deep dives, we explore these cases, and we learn a little bit more about ourselves and the world around us.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, keep searching for the truth.
Couldn't have said it better myself.